It's an interesting question. How did the peace, the Abraham Accords, how did that begin? I mean, we had decades, 70 years or 65 years where these people, would not uh, meet openly or even secretly with an Israeli leader. Yeah, we had the Mossad making contacts with them all the time and so on. But how did we break the ice to the top level of leadership? Well, we broke the ice because I took a very strong stance against Iran. And the Gulf states understood that Iran is a formidable danger to them. So we had a common interest. And the second thing is that because of the economic reforms that we had produced in Israel, Israel became a technological powerhouse. And that could help their nations, not only in terms of anything, of just bettering the life of their peoples. And the combination uh, of the desire to have some kind of protection against Iran or some kind of cooperation against Iran and civilian economic cooperation came to a head when I gave a speech in the American Congress, which I didn't do lightheartedly. I had to decide to challenge a sitting American president and on the so-called Iranian deal, which I thought would pave Iran's path with gold to be an effective nuclear power. That's what would happen. So I went there. And in the course of giving that speech before the joint session of Congress, our delegation received calls from Gulf states who said, "We can't believe what your prime minister is doing. He's challenging, the president of the United States." Well, I had no choice. I mean, because I thought my country's own existence was imperiled. And remember, we always understand through changing administrations that America, no matter what leadership, is always the irreplaceable and indispensable ally of Israel. And will always remain that. We can have arguments as we have. But in the family, as we say, in the mishpocha, it's the family. But nevertheless, I was forced to take a stand. That produced calls from Gulf states that ultimately led to clandestine meetings that ultimately flowered into the Abraham Accords. And I think we're at a point where the idea of ending the Arab-Israeli conflict, not the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, the Arab-Israeli conflict can happen. I'm not sure it will. It depends on quite a few things, but it could happen. And if it happens, it might open up the ending of the Israeli-Islamic conflict. Remember, the Arab world is a small part. It's an important part, but there are large Islamic populations, and it could bring about an end to an historic enmity between Islam and Judaism. It could be a great thing. So I'm looking at this larger thing now. You can be hobbled by saying, well, you've had this, this hiccup in Gaza, or this or that thing happening in the Palestinians. I don't. It's important for us because we want security, but I think the larger question is: can we break out into a much wider peace, and ultimately come back and make the peace between Israel and the Palestinians, rather than waiting to solve that and never getting to to paint on the larger canvas. I want to paint on the larger canvas and come back to the Palestinian-Israeli conflict.